Hi and welcome to Between the Lines. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jade.
And we are here to discuss all things health and wellness, parenting,
surviving relationships, trying to balance life, recovering from pasts and childhood issues, and just surviving together, basically.
Basically, everything in between. And some of those conversations that we don't always talk about and we feel like we're the only one. So we hope that we can offer some support, some advice, maybe some guidance, and just so that you know that you're not alone in this crazy, wild journey of life.
There's a lot of things that we just don't talk about.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons behind the podcast was that, I was fresh into buying a gym and Laura walked into my life and she had a child on her hip and she walked into the gym and I instantly messaged husband. She said, I'm a personal trainer, but I'm also looking to train. And I had this overwhelming relief of meeting this woman walking into my life. And it wasn't long until we connected. And there was just so many things that we were discussing after class that we were both going through the same things. They might have been at different stages or we were doing different things at the time, but they were still the same principles.
Yeah.
Still the same issues, Kids driving you crazy, losing who you are.
Yeah, relationships, work-life balance. I was going through an intense time with work and Jade was there supporting me, helping me through the tears in my workouts, and I just never felt so supported. So I'm just so glad that we came together to do this. And I know that, talking to other women and other people going through this, you feel like, am I the only crazy one?
You're not alone. We're not alone. There's just so many things that we just don't talk about.
Yeah.
We bottle it up, whether it be work issues, we pretend, we put on a face, we pretend that everything's okay.
Yeah.
And, that 20 years ago, our parents had villages, right? You had friends that picked kids up from school and you had women that came over on a Friday for a coffee, but now we all work.
Yeah.
All that village is gone. You just don't have that same connection. And you're sort of left navigating what's going on in life by yourself. How you're supposed to feel, how you're supposed to act, changing, how you feel and how you act to how you want to feel and how you want to act rather than, doing what you were taught to do.
Yeah.
And what society tells us to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think both of us homeschooling as well, that's a whole nother ball game.
Massive pressure.
Yeah, and like you say, you're owning a business and you're trying to work and you're trying to cover all the bases and you're trying to do it with a smile on your face.
and being in the fitness industry, because we're both in the fitness industry, obviously, you're expected to always be in a good mood.
Yeah.
Always have a good day.
Yeah.
You have kids and people tell you, I'll be grateful they grow up so fast.
Yeah.
You're like, well, at the moment, I want to kill them. I want to throw them out the door. They are driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But unless you have a relationship with someone where you can go, this is normal. This is a season that we're all in together.
Yeah.
Then you do think you're crazy. You do think you're alone.
Yeah. And that was the best advice I hadn't heard. This is a season. And that actually made me relax. And I was like, it isn't going to last forever. But everyone does go through that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not that far apart in parenting journeys, only a couple of years, but it is a season that I remember, and now we're in a different season.
Yeah.
You're in the season before, we're in the next season, but it's still the same.
Yeah.
It's still the same challenges. It's how to navigate that working, that business life, that mum life, while keeping a relationship active.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other ball game,
Yeah.
especially when the kids are testing you and work's challenging.
Yeah.
This is why we need to come together. This is why we need to talk about the things that go on behind closed doors, because there's women out there who don't have their village.
Yeah.
Who, geez, I'm 37 and I've just found my village. Like 37 and I've just found this most amazing woman who I know I can talk to about absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And I know there's women out there just like that who don't have that village, who don't have that support person.
Yep.
And I'd really like to create that for them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the safe space as well. And I think that, see, I'm like getting teared up. It's the safe space.
I was trying not to.
That you're not going to be judged for what you're going through and how you're actually trying to deal with it. And, you know, sometimes you just get through a day and you think you're the worst mum, and how could I have done this, and how could I have said that? And I think I've even said to Jade, like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to feel judged.
I was just remembering one of our early conversations, and you know, as I said to you at the time, one instance they're not going to be sitting on a psychologist's chair in 10 years' time and complaining about that one time they were yelled at, or the one time that we said things that in the heat of the moment we didn't want to say.
Yeah.
Parenting's hard.
Yeah.
Being a woman's hard.
Yeah. It's being a business owner.
It's all hard.
Yeah.
And it's how you build the people around you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was what got us onto our first topic for our podcast, was about perfectionism and how we can navigate life and the societal pressures. And that perfectionism is actually something that eludes us, and we're actually chasing an illusion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We definitely, I personally have always been a perfectionist from primary school all the way up to, you know, being a business owner. You don't want to release something that's not perfect. You don't want to submit something that's not perfect. You don't want to be that perfect parent. You don't want to, and training as well. Like when I first started CrossFit training, I wanted to be perfect.
I was exactly the same.
But it holds you back. Like aiming for that perfectionism holds us back, because we're either afraid to jump in, or we spend too long just focusing on the issue.
Yeah.
Rather than, sometimes good enough is just good enough.
Yeah.
Homeschooling's the same. Like, you spend a lot of time, you know, thinking about, am I giving her a good enough education? Am I doing enough?
Yeah.
You know, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
But sometimes good enough is good enough.
But I think that's the perception, because when you were telling me you're homeschooling, I'm like, how do you own these two businesses and homeschool? You know, so I am in awe when you tell me of the things that you've done. And here's my spreadsheet of all the stuff. And I'm like, oh, crap.
But sometimes it's and that was a symptom of perfectionism.
Yeah.
Right? So the spreadsheet with everything that we've achieved in year 2 was a symptom of my perfectionism. It's not a cure. It's a symptom.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, overtraining to be perfect is a symptom.
Yeah.
It's not a cure.
Yeah.
I think it's a cure. You know, as you struggle to get through a week of training because you've gone too hard the week before.
Yeah.
It's the same as the app, right? How long did I say it was coming out on Friday, and how long did I hold off actually putting it out there for people to look and judge, because it wasn't perfect?
The analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. My previous work, it was a lot more like you're on a stage and you're performing, and I have a dancing background, so everything has to be to the nth degree perfect.
Yeah.
So when I came into the gym and doing the CrossFit training and I'm not getting these moves, I am just hating on myself because I'm not getting that mind-body connection. It doesn't look perfect.
I remember it would have been the first 4 weeks, like even you coaching. And I remember coming home and saying to hubby, she's just overthinking it.
Yep.
She is so good at what she's doing, but she is just overthinking it. She's trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what none of us are perfect. But I can say that for you.
Yeah.
But in my own corner, that's a problem. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to bounce these things off people that we care about, because I could guarantee you're probably the same. Nothing has to be perfect. But for yourself, you're like, oh, it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
It has to be done this way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think it's that overthinking so much that you wouldn't even do the lift or whatever.
Yep.
Because it's like, I've got to get this and then that and then this and then that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't go up in weight because, well, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So, and there's, in training, as you know, there's a fine line between, just going for it and doing too much.
Yeah.
But especially in those early days when you're overthinking how perfect it all has to look, it does take away from the journey. It does.
Yeah.
You do start
and the enjoyment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that is a big part of it as well. Like we talk about the societal pressures, it's how it looks. So you're worried about what everyone else is thinking about you, and you can't actually relax into the moment. And if I just relaxed into it and was really myself, I would probably coach a whole lot better. And people can see when you're overthinking it, and then
absolutely,
and they can see your nerves and all of that. I mean, I guess that's normal when you're doing something new, but yeah.
I do feel like perfectionism has definitely taken a lot of joy out of learning new things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like there's things that I definitely haven't enjoyed as much as I could have because I'm too worried about it having to be perfect. And business is not too dissimilar. Like, to the outside world, your business has to look perfect. You have to be perfect. But it's not perfect, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Learning something new is hard. Doing something new is hard. Not being perfect is actually really good.
Well, the main thing that people have said coming into your gym is it's the vibe that's created. They don't care if there's a patch of wall that hasn't been painted or, whatever else. It's actually you and Scott being yourselves and creating the space where everyone feels comfortable to be themselves. And if you're having a shit day, you're having a shit day and you just move.
Yeah, well, you
and
can't
we're here
hide
for
from
you.
You can't hide from having a shit day.
Yeah.
You can't hide from having a shit day, and they're the days we're not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
They're the
But
days.
that means so much more. It means so much more that you can just let me cry in a workout and you just say, you got this. You've got this.
Yeah.
And,
I think that crying in a workout is such a release for people who want to be perfect all the time.
Definitely.
Because it's in that moment where you realise that it's okay not to be perfect.
Yeah. And I don't have it all together right now.
And it's okay not to have it all together.
I mean, who does? They're lying.
They're absolutely lying.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I have not had it all together in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
But it really is a case of, it's that release. It's that I'm not perfect and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was the big thing I wanted to bring into the gym. I wanted to be that it's not about being perfect and it's not about lifting the heaviest or running the fastest. It's that same perfectionism, right? That society that, you have to be fit to get started. Well, you don't. It's about moving your body. There's so much more to fitness than losing weight, getting fit, getting stronger.
Yeah.
It's about learning to overcome those emotions.
Yeah.
That I can't lift that, or I can't run as fast as I want to, or I haven't got this perfect move.
Yeah.
And that's that mindset thing. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Moving our bodies is great. Like, don't get me wrong, like fitness changed my life. But it was the mindset that came with it. Although I'm not perfect at it, and I still struggle with perfectionism.
Yeah. It's a comparison as well, comparing yourself to other people, and we do see that quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And I do that myself.
Me too, guilty.
Yeah. But it's like everyone has their own beautiful skills to bring into this world and their own light that they bring forward.
Yeah.
So no one is going to be the best at everything. And it's honoring what you can do and like have fun about what you're going to learn along the way, and honoring what other people can do really well and building each other up.
Building each other up.
Yeah.
Building each other up.
Yeah.
And showing everyone, especially those of us who are on the perfectionist scale, that good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
Building each other up enough that even though you have that going on, you know it's still okay. Deep down, you know it's okay.
Yeah.
You know it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
You know it's okay to not be where you want to be just yet.
Yeah.
You know, and we're all in it together.
Yeah. Being okay to fail is one of the hardest things to overcome. And this particular training has really helped me with that. But I can see that coming through in my eldest child when we're learning, and he will get so upset when it's not a perfect letter or number, not drawn it properly. And it has been such a mirror for me, because I was like that growing up.
Yep.
And now I'm like, it's been passed on.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm the worst mother in the world. And there goes the cycle.
Absolutely. And we had something similar. So with our daughter, she has dyslexia, which we didn't actually know until a few years ago. But it was the same thing, right? So like she wouldn't even attempt to spell.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And there'd be tears and there'd be tantrums, and then I would feel bad because, well, I'm not teaching her, and she's got this from me, and how do we prevent this? And I had to take a step back and go, okay, well, who cares? Just write something.
Yeah.
We don't care what the spelling is. We can work it out.
Yeah.
Just write something.
Yeah.
But I also had to take a step back and go, it's okay to just write something.
I'm still in that mode. So yeah, if the spelling's not there, and I go, when we first started, I was like, well, no, that's not how you spell it, and this is how you write it. And I changed it for them and fixed it for them. And now, I'm slowly getting there going, okay, how do you think we spell it? And just backing off on trying to make their work perfect for who. Like,
look, as long as they can use a capital letter for a name and and capital letters for I, and they can write an email, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
But it is that pulling back from that spelling and going, it's okay if it doesn't look perfect.
Yeah.
And I guess you feel a lot of pressure too, because you're the one doing the teaching.
Yeah.
So if they're not perfect, well then I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I've failed.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
There's so much pressure to get that right that we do push a little bit of that perfectionism on them.
And then they're hating it, and they're not having joy in learning, and you're like, oh great, now I'm not fun anymore. And I'm a shit teacher, and oh man.
Yeah, just snowballs.
Yeah. That perfectionist mental spiral is,
It's just a loop. It's like a replay loop that you try to overcome, and it just creeps back in.
Yeah.
It just creeps back. No matter how aware of it you are, it creeps back in.
Yeah.
And you do feel like you're alone. You're the only shit homeschooling parent. You're the only shit CrossFitter who can't, connect the dots.
Yeah.
But we're all the same.
Yeah.
Just no one talks about it.
Yeah. So then when it brings in those limiting beliefs, how do you overcome it? I
do I don't know. It's it's hard. I tend to have to pull myself back and sort of look outside in,
Okay.
which is easier said than done. So, and I can feel when I'm on a spiral, when I'm on a perfectionism spiral, I can feel it happening.
Yeah.
And I have to step out of the situation. And there usually what will happen is my training will suffer.
Yeah.
So I know for that week, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to do any movements that I find hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to melt down.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the corner crying.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to cry in the drive all the way to work. And then poor hubby's going to cop it because I'm going to yell at him because I was angry at myself.
Yeah.
So it's a case of just having to, when I know I'm in a spiral, stepping back from that. Mm-hmm. And it's the same as schooling. When I know we're both in that spiral, we change what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
We use deflection, change it.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you try and aim to do?
Breathe is probably the first one.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, probably similar. I think because I'm so fresh on the homeschooling scene, I am still figuring that out with the kids and what to do
Yep.
when it's all just piling up.
Yep.
So I will probably just say like, okay, let's just give it a break. Let's go on to something else. Or let's go outside or something like that.
Yep.
In training, I breathe.
And then you cry.
And then I cry. Some of the moves I get angry at and some of the moves I want to cry.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it would be helpful to have that mindset of, okay, today is not the day
Yep.
that's going to happen, and that's okay.
That happened today for me. So,
Yeah.
as you know, I've been nursing a sore Achilles. We did some great training this morning. Fabulous training. Absolutely loved what I got to. And then I went to work on bar muscle ups. And every time I jumped to the bar, it hurt.
Yeah.
So I had to step back, and rather than getting angry, I just went, well, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
We'll find another time to revisit it when I'm not going to throw my grips out the door and
Yeah.
hate everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the funny part of it too. Like, I don't think I've ever experienced being okay in emotions while training.
Yep.
It's always just been like, put on a happy face and do the exercise, and like, I'm hurting right now and I'm dying right now, but I'm going to keep smiling anyway.
Yep.
So I think I'm actually in the midst of exploring all of that at the moment.
Feeling okay with
Screaming out an obscenity.
being
in front
frustrated.
of people in the gym.
And the best part of it is that because of the culture that we've built, and you've helped me build that, like without you over the last 12 months, there's no way that gym would have flourished the way it has. But the best part of is in that culture, we're all so close that it's okay. It's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We've all had bad days. Sometimes it just doesn't work, like double unders.
Yeah. Most times you attempt it.
Unless you enjoy being whipped a million times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's being mirrored, being the role model with the kids, and I think they have actually helped me to see that perfectionism as well. So I guess for myself, what would I say to my eldest if he was upset that he couldn't get it? Would I just go, well, that's just not good enough?
Yeah.
Why are you so shit at that?
Yeah.
So how would I speak to myself, to my inner, my inner girl?
Yeah.
When she's not getting.
You wouldn't say, oh, I'm shit.
No.
You would, though. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? But if you were saying it to your child, you wouldn't say that.
No.
And if we're saying it to a member or a friend, we wouldn't say that. So why have we let that be okay saying it to ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big, deep dive. I don't have the answer for that one.
Yeah,
but it's
might not touch on that today. But that is essentially where it is.
The self-talk
like,
is massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it goes hand in hand with perfectionism and limiting beliefs and, I'm not good enough and I'm not doing enough and I'm never going to be enough. And it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But that's where we should draw the line in the sand. That's where they're the things we should cut out.
Yeah.
We should cut out the limiting beliefs and that self-talk.
Yeah.
Because that's what trips us up.
Yeah.
That's what pulls us back into that cycle, that loop, that feedback loop of I failed something, I'm shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it another go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a go. I failed it, I'm shit.
Yeah.
And it just rolls over and over again.
Well, that's where perhaps you can look at the journey of it all. I know it's so cliche, it's the journey, but it literally is. You can see progress in little things.
Yep.
Like, okay, for homeschooling, it would be like, okay, you didn't get the H right, but look how amazing you wrote the rest of this word.
Yep.
Or, it's looking at the little things that you did that were really good.
The first time that they pick up a book and they read a sentence without you nagging them to read a sentence is like this gold moment. You're like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
Or like you're in a conversation and they drop a word that you've never even touched on and you're like, where on earth did this come from?
Yeah.
So they're the moments that we need to point out.
Yeah.
It's the same as in our training, you know. We may be lifting the same weight, but it feels better.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's smoother or just slightly faster or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the dinner table, I'll often say, like, oh, Ollie did this and Kai did that today and it was so great. So I think we need to have more of that for ourselves.
Yep.
I don't know whether journaling, do you journal?
We tried it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it was actually really nice. So we sat down and we wrote 3 things that we enjoyed about our day. And then we also wrote something that we didn't enjoy about our day.
Yeah.
And it was actually really insightful. It was really nice to go, because sometimes you get home from work or from being with the kids and you're like, oh, it was a shit day. Yeah. Nothing good happened. And journaling was really nice. Like we sat down as a family straight after dinner at the dining table, and then we went around the dining table and we talked about, what was on our list. And sometimes it was as simple as, we got to watch a movie together.
Yeah.
Or we listened to a funny joke on the radio, which all seem like small, insignificant things, but they made an impact on our day.
Yeah.
And that really helped. And then to be able to write something that didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
And then to acknowledge that we failed at something was also really important for the 3 of us because we're all perfectionists.
Yeah.
So it was really good to acknowledge that we failed at something. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because life isn't all about
winning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How about you? Do you journal?
No. Well, no, not about daily life.
Okay.
No, I journal my dreams. Or like my hopes and aspirations. But I think it would actually be really helpful to start doing that.
Yep.
Just acknowledging, like you say, the little wins in the day.
Yep.
And then the things that happened that were triggering or didn't quite go to plan. Yeah. Maybe I'll start.
Fit it in.
Yeah, squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I said it was really nice while we were doing it. Life just got a bit busy.
Yeah.
Bought a second business and our bedtime / dinner time routine sort of changed, and we're not all at the table at 6 o'clock anymore.
Yeah.
But definitely something we'd like to go back to, because it was helpful. It was really nice to look at the things, you know, something that actually, and sometimes it was our training that made our day.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I got to hear Alice, you know, read her first sentence, or, you know, those were things that really just made it special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you know, to sum up perfectionism, it's a constant journey of stepping back.
That's another cliche, isn't it? It's just a constant journey. But that's exactly what it is. It is a constant journey of stepping back, you know, thinking about how you would talk to others, how you talk to your children, how you talk to your best friend, what advice you'd give them.
Yeah.
Because you know when you're in that loop, you know when you're in that perfectionist loop, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Get all antsy and, you know, want to yell at someone or cry in the corner.
Yeah.
So being able to recognise going through that loop and then taking that step back.
Yeah. And it's all a mindset and a perception. What you feel is not perfect, someone else is looking at going, oh my God, they've got it all together.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, oh, that was so amazing. And you're going, well, that just wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah.
And, you know?
Yeah.
So, it all starts on the self-talk.
Absolutely. All right. Have we had enough chatting about perfection?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I need to have some coffee and
A regroup.
yeah.
Me too. Thank you for listening to our first episode of Between the Lines.
Went pretty well, I'd have to say.
Actually, considering we were so nervous.
Yeah, we were worried about it not being perfect.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure we sat in front of the camera for 30 minutes before we hit record.
Yeah, sweating.
Yeah. So it's it was nice.
Yeah.
We really want to make it like it's one of our chats in the gym, which is, you know, we sit down and we go over real things that have been happening in life, or because being real and not being perfect is definitely what it's all about.
Yeah. And we want to hear from you. So if you have any questions or any topics that you'd like us to talk about, hit us up and like and subscribe to the channel. And you can find us on Between the Lines in Facebook.
And Instagram, and YouTube, obviously, and on Spotify.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. That's it. We did it.
See you next time.